All right, welcome back. It's time for us to get into our communities and to get into some stories that are happening around the country. We're going to go over to the Upper West region, and some, districts in the Upper West have been cut off after following a downpour. And of course, today is a very rainy day, and Ghana Meteo says that we're going to have rainfall basically across the entire country, at least for the morning. All right, so let's take a look at this report. We'll come back and then we'll delve into the conversations.
This is the Durumon-Dabo Road, which links about 24 communities to Wichaw, the Wild West district capital. The road also serves as the major route to Dabo, which has one of the largest markets in the district. Commuters, especially farmers, have over the years complained about the deplorable nature of the road, which they say is making it difficult to cart their farm produce to market centers. This and many other culverts have been begging for repairs for over 3 years. A recent downpour has worsened traveling experience on the Durumon-Dabo Road, as some portions have been washed off. The situation is no different from the Durumon-Jambose, Wichaw Durumon and Wichaw-Ga, as well as other minor routes in the district, thereby making traveling a nightmare. These children were seen fixing portions of the Wild Durumon Road. Their leader tells Citi News they can no longer bear the brunt of the many road accidents that occur on the road on a daily basis. The Wild West District Chief Executive describes the deplorable road network in the area as a major hindrance to their development.
Actually, as you can see behind me and even in front of me, the road network is very, very bad in the district. This is just but one road I am standing on and talking. If you move from here to Durumon, which is one part of the district, Durumon to Dabo, the road is very bad. We're just coming from that road, and we saw that the last downpour, that road was cut off, and even school children could not go to school. Market women could not cross to the market, and a whole lot. People even outside the district cannot have access to Dabo, cannot have access to Durumon, even the district capital, which is Wichaw. So if you take the Durumon where we are now to the Wichaw stretch of the road, you see that the road is very bad. I'm just appealing passionately to central government. Yes, the little resources that come to the assembly, we can't say it is more. It is to supplement. We know the assembly, we are supposed to also play a role, like I said, but our IGF is very, very low. It is nothing to write home about. And because we don't have the enough IGF to take up some of these developmental issues, I am just appealing passionately to the central government to actually look at Wild West as being one of the most deprived districts in the Upper West region, that our roads are very, very bad. So I will plead with central government to pay more attention to Wild West.
The Wild West is the second most populated district in the Upper West region, but is considered the poorest in the country according to the Ghana Statistical Service. The Wild West District Coordinating Director says revenue mobilization in the district continues to dwindle because most farmers cannot access market centers due to the bad nature of roads in the area.
Yes, if we see the revenue drive from the assembly, it's very low. Even an assembly at the end of the year can generate up to about 120,000 Ghana cedis. You just know that it's not doing well, because others are talking about 1 million something and you are just in the thousands. So it's something. And of course, like during the rainy season, most of the markets you can't access. So, you cannot send a revenue collector to go there, the small that we also collect from. So these are issues that are affecting us greatly. And I think that if they improve, at least we have access to the markets all year round. Farmers are encouraged to send their produce there to sell. we'll be able to collect the market to small, and then it will improve our IGF collection.
All right, so there's a report there by our correspondent Latif Mahama on the challenges that the people of the Upper West region are experiencing, particularly, after the downpour with the road network, and, it's just very difficult, because the entire place is almost like disjointed, as a result of roads being cut off and so on and so forth, market access and everything else. But Api Oko has joined me on the show this morning. Good morning, Api. How are you?
Good morning, David. I'm well.
Fantastic.
I'm well.
Fantastic. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, I ran away to Radio Small because we have our top 10 for the Literacy Challenge 2022.
Okay.
We have our top 10.
Okay.
Of course, you are the chief invigilator.
I was doing my thing.
You did a very brilliant job. Brilliant job. I mean, Wichaw or whoever should hire you. So we have our top 10, and we made that announcement on radio, and shortly on TV we'll be making it as well.
Fantastic, fantastic.
But this issue in Wa West, at some point, as for flooding, it's been with, you look at the dailies, reports from as early as 1911.
Yeah.
There were reports of flooding,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Issues when it rains. We've had that. But now it seems as though across the length and breadth of the country, it's becoming larger than we ever imagined it could be.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we are waiting for before we say, hey, you know what? We need to clear waterways. We need to restructure communities if we have to. We need to rethink and redesign our urban spaces, even go into what we are. Now, we don't have rural areas in that sense. So we don't.
Not really.
People are living everywhere. But the communities are not well mapped out and designed. Some are very scattered. There's overcrowding. If you talk about the slum areas, we really need to look at the country as a whole, from north to south, east to west, and pay attention to something. Otherwise, we'll be here, and then one day, all of us, the water, it will be like the flood and Noah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that we won't have an ark.
So part of the challenge for me is appreciating what it is that we have in terms of what we were endowed naturally. Okay, this is the lay of the land that we were given when we appeared here. What does it mean for us as a people to dominate our land and have control over our land, right? We can't always be at the mercy of
the elements.
Of the elements.
We can't.
Let me just state this very clearly. It is only an undeveloped group of people that refuse to civilize, right, that are at the mercy of the elements all the time, from day to day. Okay, the more advanced you become, the more you control your environment. Okay, and so people can move into a desert. They are given deserts and mountains, and they will turn it. That's civilization.
To create an international tourist destination.
Thank you.
Dubai Point and Caves.
Thank you. Israel, 1948. Desert and mountains. Look what they turned it into.
Stones.
And exactly. Look what they turned it into. So when we look at our space in Ghana and our leaders seem helpless, there's no excuse. We have too many examples in the world to show us that you can do a lot more with what you've been given. And you have been given the easier version of what other people have. So for me, I think that
we have everything. We have the mountains and the hills. We have the valleys. We have the water bodies.
Thank you. What are we
have the
doing?
savannas. We have everything. We have the sea.
And we have some of the most intelligent human beings that are walking the planet right in Ghana. And yet somehow we are not able to galvanize the resources that we have and turn it into something.
The curse of abundance.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Okay, so currently we have Mr. Barnabas Tengbani Gazini. I hope I got the name right. He can correct me if I didn't. He's the assemblyman for Double Electoral Area, and he's on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
How are you doing, my brother?
By God's grace, I'm doing fine.
Good. Please, can you pronounce your full name for us? so that we make sure that we get it right.
All right. The name is Barnabas Tembane Gazienya.
Gazienya.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right.
Gazienya.
Okay. So, sir, let's talk about what's happening in your community at the moment. We're being told that dozens have been cut off from the capital because of the downpour that happened, in the last few hours. What is this something that you've been experiencing recently, or is just happening in this instance?
Thank you very much for having me on your show this morning, and thank you to your viewers too. It's not something we are just experiencing recently. It is something that has been happening over the years since I was a kid. Till I became a leader in the community, and we are still experiencing it. Let me kindly give a brief history of the stretch of that route.
Okay.
In the mid-90s, by 1994, 95, 96, the road was constructed by a Ghanem, and it used to see reshaping and other minor repair works on it, at least every 2 or 3 years by feeder roads. But for the last 8 to 9 years, the road has not accidentally even seen a grader working on it, especially the stretch from Durmo to Dabo. And so that has even made the situation very bad and unmotorable for all users of the road as we speak. But the worst situation is usually between August through to October. This period of the year, Dabo and its surrounding communities are usually like an island. We are not part of the rest of Ghana in terms of assessing some basic necessities or assessing some basic social amenities that are not available in the community. So that has been the story for many years, but it's becoming worse, especially last year rains, and this year it has started so early. And as I speak, just yesterday there was another downpour after church service around 8 to 12 thereabout. I made a visit to the community. I have to take the risks because there was something urgent I needed to discuss in the community with some elders. Young men were there to help me push my bike across because no car will try it. And when we entered the water, I nearly lost my shoes. Fortunately, one of the guys swam and got one for me. It's just not easy. I have to find my way through bushes to come back to town just to also see my family. So the road situation hasn't just been of recent issue, but it has been a perennial issue, but it's hitting us too early this year.
Okay, so Barnabas, from what you're telling us, the problem is bigger than your roads and your road network and what happens when it rains and floods this way. You mentioned earlier that apart from the situation with your roads, there are certain basic amenities that you don't have access to. What are some of those things?
For instance, as we said, people usually say that health is wealth. And in the area that is made up of about 18 communities, 18 solid communities, has only 2 chiefs compounds that are functional. One have just been upgraded to a health center. It means that there are some health access that we cannot get, or there are certain health practices that cannot be carried out in those chiefs compounds because of the rules and regulations governing them. And most often, complications that come up in some medical cases, let me just take this one as a basic one. For instance, a pregnant woman goes to deliver in the chiefs compound and has to be referred to the district health center, or the district health post, or the regional referral center. there is no way such a pregnant woman can access that facility. That is just the basic one to begin with.
Yeah.
Just last week, Man communities vacated schools before the GES closing time. Why? Because some children that live along other communities and accesses basic education dare not enter those waters when the road was cut off. In such case, we have to advise them to stay away till such a time that when the water subsides and things are normalized, they can go back to school. So they have to close at least 2 weeks to the GES closing date on the 11th. So if our children are not educated at this age, and that was the time for them to be assessed, now they have gone through the whole curriculum for a term, and they have not been assessed at the end of the term. What records are the teachers going to keep to track the progress of these children? If you look at it, it's like they are passing through education, but they are not actually being educated to some extent. Besides that, we are all saying that agric is the backbone of Ghanaian economy. The people are purely into farming. They does nothing. Majority of my people are into farming, and they are a major contributory factor to feeding many in the region and across. Animals rearing is one of the major things, and people are into more of this business, more so because Dabo itself is a border town to Burkina Faso. Dabo is just 24 kilometers from Wa, and to the Black Volta is just about 30 kilometers. So a 30-kilometer ride from the regional capital, which is Wa, you are in Burkina Faso.
All right.
So you see,
Barnabas.
Yes, boss.
Please hold on. We want to talk to the DCE now and have her comments on, her role in the region in the district to find out her comments on some of the challenges that you're experiencing. We have the DCE, Honorable Vida Diorote on the line. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
Did I pronounce your name correct?
Yes.
All right.
You nearly crucified it. I take it like that.
All right. Okay, thank you.
The correct pronunciation of my surname is Diorote.
Diorote.
Yes,
all right.
please.
Okay,
Diorote.
fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So, Honorable, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning to your cherished viewers.
All right. Now,
one of the people of Wild West who are listening to us this morning.
Yes. All right. Now, as the president's representative in Wild West, what is it that you're bringing to the district to impact on the challenges that they've had all these years? Looking at the issue of healthcare, looking at the issue of from farm gates to market, the district always regularly has roads being cut off, communities being marooned basically in rainstorms and so on. What are some of the interventions that you can share with us that you're taking up, to make sure that you better the lot of people in the district Wild West?
Yeah, thank you once again for your question this morning. And the interventions that I am bringing in the district executive and the representative of the president. When I got into office, I'm 9 months now in office. I can say that I am working very hard with the chiefs, the traditional authorities, with our assembly members, with NGOs, and a whole lot to ensuring that we have or we get the needed development that we all are yearning for in the district. When I came, I met so many challenges ranging from the bad road network, inadequate health infrastructure, inadequate educational infrastructure, and a whole lot. So what I am trying to do in my own small way is that I am bringing all the stakeholders on board for us to work and then see how we can address all the, but some of the challenges in the district. And like I said, I came and made a plan known as the Medium-Term Development Plan. It's a 5-year plan. And I've taken that plan and we are working with it. We have planned for all the infrastructure that we are talking of. We have planned for the roads that we want to at least rehabilitate. We have also planned for the health infrastructure, educational, and then all that. But all these plans cannot be executed as a result of finances. We know that the central government gives the assembly funds, that is the common fund, to be able to carry out all these huge plans. Then again, like the interventions I'm talking about, NGOs are working in the district. I am working effectively. I'm collaborating very well with some of them. Example, UNICEF, World Vision, Slum Ghana, just to mention a few. All these NGOs are buying into the plan that we have put down for the district. We are looking at ways and means of, working together to actually bring development to the doorsteps of the people.
Okay, Honorable. So let me find out from you. You've mentioned the common fund as one source of, funding for some of the things that you need in the community or within the district. But apart from that, have you by any chance seen some of the things that are critical to you, to your particular community, making it to the different sector ministries? For example, we've spoken about education, we've spoken about roads and the road network, we've spoken about agric, we've spoken about health. Are any of the challenges that you are experiencing in your community making it to these ministries so that they can also push for bigger budgets, when it's time to put the national budget out there? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, actually, like I said, the money that we get from common fund is woefully inadequate. And then, we also generate income from the district. That one, too, is nothing to write home about. One West is one of the most deprived districts in the Upper West region. Though it is 18 years old now, it is still deprived in the sense that, like the Honorable Assemblyman mentioned, many of the people in Wild West are predominantly farmers. They are just farmers. They farm to take care of their families. That's a peasant farming. And there are all these people, the little that they get from their farm produce, there is nothing to write home about, and then they only use it to take care of their family.
Honorable, so you see, the issue here is it's not so much the size of your common fund, right? Because that's, like you said, it's woefully inadequate. We know that, right? Yes. What we are more asking about is your engagement, your level of your engagement, because you're the president's person on the ground, which means you're a very, very powerful woman, yes, right? So your level of engagement with the ministries, the ministers who have influence, ministers who control larger budgets. So Minister of Education, Minister of Roads, those places that you can actually engage with, the people you can engage with and lobby, for them to come and invest in your community. That's what we are referring to.
Yes. So that one I have started with the engagement with all these ministries that you are talking about.
You've started.
Local government, decentralization, and rural development. I've been able to get in touch with the minister. And then I've laid down some of the challenges in the district. that we need development for. And then also the road minister, the roads and transport, have been able to get in touch with the ministry. I visited there about twice. The urban roads too. The regional office, from regional office to national, I have been able to visit some of these ministries. And then they are aware, have put the problem, the challenges, the developmental challenges that the district have, or the district is encountering now, before them. And then Interior Ministry too have been able to get in touch with, and have even started lobbying for some of the developmental issues that we need for the district. Like the Education Ministry have been able to lobby, at least to get some sort of recruitment for the teaming unemployed youth in the district. And I've also lobbied the Agri Ministry. Now this is farming season. I went to the ministry and lobbied for fertilizer. And farmers who are dealing with fertilizer have been able to get the assurance that if they want to buy, they can get the fertilizer, planting for food and job fertilizer from the ministry to buy. And so I am.
No, but Honorable, how is that an intervention that helps your people? Because if you go to lobby, the farmers themselves have access to the fertilizer when they want to anyway. They just have to walk in and request for it. They have access to that. So when you say you've lobbied with them and they can now have access, I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to work.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes.
Because every farmer should be able to go and request with the Planting for Food and Jobs to say, I'm doing this crop, I need fertilizer. And then there's an allotment that will be given to you, whether you buy or they give it to you, whatever arrangement it is. They have direct access to, the projects. So I'm not sure what your lobbying has impacted. I was thinking you're going to say you've lobbied and, several hundreds of kilograms of fertilizer is being given to them for free, it's being supplied to them, something like that. But I'm not sure what your intervention actually has been.
Yes, the lobbying here I'm talking about is that, initially farmers don't have access to even buy those the input dealers. They don't even have access to buy these fertilizers. And then through my intervention, my lobbying, I've been able to get the fact that farmers can now pay for these fertilizers, because as you know, I also know, fertilizer in Ghana is not free of charge. And that is why the Planting for Food and Job fertilizer has been subsidized. So with that one, those who are dealers, who are input dealers, have been able to lobby for them. They can access this fertilizer and then put in their shops, and farmers can go there to buy. We know that now the prices of fertilizer have gone up a bit. But these fertilizer that are available in the district, some in WA, where farmers can easily go and then buy for their crops.
All right. Well, Honorable, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We also have Barnabas on Zoom with us. Barnabas, so you heard what Honorable Vida has been saying. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, and thank you, Mandisi. I think I have to recommend her for some proactive measures she put up recently when the flood occurred. Usually, when it happens, sometimes you call some authorities and they are unable to attend to you. But just last week, when it happened, I called her, she managed to squeeze time and appeared at the scene. Fortunately, she came with the district engineers, and the following day, the regional feeder roads engineers also made a follow-up to have a look at it. But like she's saying that she has made a visit to the ministries, I think that is where we all have to place emphasis on. wanted to actually work hand in hand with the MP who is in Accra, so that together the two of them will lay the facts there before the ministers or before the custodians of the national cake, just to turn a soft face towards the people of West, especially on the part of our road. Road is the web that connects us to all other developments. If you don't have some essential health facilities in your community and there is a better road, lives can still be saved. People can travel to access them. If if it is fertilizer and it's not even in the community and the road is good, like I indicated, from the regional capital to Dabo is just 24 kilometers. It is easy for people to still access them. But if they are even looking and we are able to get fertilizer and there is no route to just pick them across, then the lobbying would have been right. The intention is very right. But certain things that we should have looked at to really make the thing accessible will still come across or will still be an impediment to the people accessing that good intention. So looking at the road nature in West actually, it really needs the attention of leaders, and we are appealing passionately through our DC, through our MP, to the Minister of Roads and to the government, and whosoever that can help the people of Dabo. Let me also make an appeal. I've heard of Ghana Armed Forces taking up some special road construction. A portion of the road really needs a steel bridge. I am appealing, if this medium is reaching them, they can consider helping the people of West out. If central government is still mobilizing funds and can partner with them, we will really appreciate any effort that will help alleviate the sufferings of people in the Boiler area, especially with regards to roads.
Thank you very much, Barnabas. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me on your show this morning.
Thank you. All right. So we also have the Honorable Peter Lanchene Tobo on the line. He's the MP for West. And Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm excited to have you on the line this morning.
I'm so happy myself for you to go West and put it on the limelight.
Well, I mean, West is a very important part of Ghana's conversation. So there is no way West should be deprived. Now, some of the conversations we've been having this morning has been about the challenges that West is facing. It's one of the poorer districts of the country. And we're just wondering, myself and my co-host here this morning, what it is that you as an MP, who of course it's not yours to do implementation, but what can you do as an MP to, or have been doing, to lobby, your friends in Parliament and your friends who are in cabinet to advance the cause of West?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers, and good morning to my very good friend and brother, the Honorable Assemblyman for the Dabo electoral area, Honorable Barnabas Gazina. I just watched him speak, and he is passionately indeed. All of us are so much concerned about many of the roads in the West constituency, and very particularly the road that leads from Doromo to Dabo, Doromo to Wa, Ga to Wichaw, Doromo to Gontanga, Tanza to Bankama, and even from Wichaw to Tokale. Sometimes when you get into the conditions, you ask yourself, are we really part of Ghana? And that's why I'm happy that you highlighted this matter, because West, as you say, the poorest district, one of the poorest districts in this country. I went home passionately to put up my best, do all I can to be able to better the everyday lives of the people of West and make West part of Ghana indeed. That when the national cake is shared, West will be remembered. And sometimes we need to do what we call positive discrimination. It's a district that has been abandoned for many years, and you can see that in fact it is deteriorating. There is nothing wrong with shifting resources from one particular district that is well developed to West, so that at least we can come apart. You see, underdevelopment in country.
Yeah.
And that is why sometimes we need to be very fair. One West is really challenged. But I want to believe, well, what I'm doing in Parliament today, the truth of the matter is, the Minister for Roads and Highways, recently I posted on my Facebook wall, and a lot is happening as we speak. But the Minister doesn't command the resources. It is the Finance Minister. If the Finance Minister comes to Parliament and we approve loans for him, we approve spending for him, because it's Parliament that approves the expenditure. But at the end of the day, if the Minister says, yes, I am going to do this, the Road Minister says, we are coming to work on this road. He's working at a level as an engineer, as an expert in the field, and as a policy maker in the road and highways ministry. But for us to get the money to do it, it must come from the Minister of Finance. So you can do all the things that you can do as a minister. If the Minister of Finance doesn't release the funds, people will begin to see you as not functioning effectively. The truth is that the Minister of Finance must have some attention for the people of Wichaw. And please, today we are going to Ireland. We know it's how difficult, but I think that investing in infrastructure is a better investment for this economy to come back to life.
Okay, so Honorable, I mean, you mentioned something which is very important. It's true, of course, the Minister of Finance controls the finances. He's the one who, make the disbursements and whatnot. But before he does that, he's working with a budget of sorts, right? And that budget is fed by all the other ministries. So what I want to find out is, and particularly because we are talking about the challenges in terms of roads especially that we're dealing with this morning in Wichaw West, does the roads minister, or has he at any point, as far as you know, said to the Minister of Finance, this is a budget, Wichaw West needs to be priority at this point, and so I need this to appear in the budget for, say, 2022 or 2021 or whatever it is?
Thank you very much. I have filed a question in Parliament for the Minister for Roads and Highways, and he appeared, lucky enough for me, he appeared and answered the question. What was the question? In 2021 August, floods washed away many roads in the Upper West region, including Wichaw. And one of the major roads that were washed away was the highway from Accra to Burkina Faso, between Nadolo and Kaleo area. That road was fixed under emergency certificate within 3 weeks, because you can imagine the number of articulated trucks that were fully loaded that were stuck on either side of the road. It was a national disaster, and government declared it as an emergency. Government also declared many of the Wichaw West roads under that same emergency certificate. These roads were packaged, and we were promised that they were going to be fixed immediately, just like the way they fixed the main one within 3 weeks. In May, I asked the Minister for Roads and Highways the question. The rainy seasons are coming in again. Mr. Minister, you declared an emergency situation in the Upper West region in August 2021. Almost 1 year down the line, I don't know whether we can still call that an emergency. What are you doing about the roads in Wichaw? And the Minister said, listen, Honorable MP for Wichaw, the road from Gad to Wichaw to Doromo and back to Wa is a critical road for the government. The road from Doromo to Dabo is so important to government. And the road from PC to Nako to Viri, government is working on it. And I'm telling you, as a matter of fact, that we just got approval from the public procurement agency. And we are going to package it and we'll award them on contract very soon. And the question was, Mr. Minister, can you look into that camera and tell the people of Wichaw that you are going to take this road before the rainy season sets in again in 2022? He said, Honorable MP, that is exactly what I meant. We will do exactly so. Who am I to challenge the minister? I believe they can. Lo and behold, on the 1st of August 2022, heavy floods made the roads unpassable. It's terrible. And I'm still following up on the minister. But I've seen some good signs. The road that was abandoned, the contractor abandoned the road from Gad to Wichaw. The contractor, I've seen that some of his vehicles are coming back to site, as promised by the minister, that he was going to ensure that the contractor goes back to site. I am waiting to see the day that other roads will be packaged and awarded. But he told me everything will be done within the 2022 budget year.
And here we are, and we're dealing with the floods again. So Honorable, so what you're telling us is that between the time you had that conversation with the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways and now, that we are experiencing the rates and flooding again, no construction has begun.
No construction has begun. I am not even aware of a contract that has been awarded to any contractor, because it assured me there are some prime contractors that they want to use, they have the capacity, and they were waiting for approval from PPA. And on the day he was answering the question, I think the chief director was sitting behind him and gave him the hint that they just got approval that very day. So the minister was so excited and told me, Peter, I am also excited because this approval has finally come, and I'm going to work hard, package, and award this road. And within this budget year of 2022, you will see progress in your constituency. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting, and I'm excited about it.
Well, we still have about 4 months or 5 months before the end of the year, so hopefully something will happen before the close of the year. But Honorable, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. We appreciate your time.
And Honorable, we'll follow up on this conversation.
Yeah,
if it means we have to speak to the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways at some point, we'll do that and follow up on the conversation. Because we need to know what's happening. Yes,
we are together in this. Thank you so much for having that much interest in Wichaw. Let's together make Wichaw a better place. I'm sure one day you'll come and watch the Igbos. We have the Hippo Sanctuary, and you can go through those bad roads to get to the Hippo Sanctuary. Let's work together and make Wichaw a better place. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. It's such an important conversation, for us to have, because, like he said, the poorest place in Ghana is the place that describes who we are as a people. Okay, the weakest of all of us is the greatest reflection of who we are.
Of course.
All right, we can't look at the nicest and the fairest of all of us to say that is who we are. No, we look at the weakest, and the more we lift up the weak to bring them to par with the rest of where we are, that's a reflection of who we are as a people. So, government after government, people keep ignoring the poorer parts of the country, but we need to stem that. We need to put a stop to that. Abby, I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, absolutely. And you see, a lot of the time, people who don't have a voice or who don't have a platform, those are the people who are disadvantaged because no one is hearing them. They're shouting, no one is hearing. They're crying, no one is seeing. They're complaining, no one feels it, no one hears it. So that is why a show like Breakfast Daily here on Citi TV exists. We will continue to chase up some of these things. These questions that we're asking them for a reason. A lot of the time when we have issues, we run to our MPs. But our MPs are not the ones to implement and execute community development.
Yeah.
No.
They're not implemented.
That is not their job.
Yeah.
And then some of our MPs too, election time,
they'll go and make promises as if they can.
Exactly.
They have the power to implement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then yes, like we said during this conversation, Ministry of Finance is responsible for that public purse.
Yeah.
But it's like, Kweku, so we are sitting here together, right? And I tell you that I'm going to buy foodstuffs for Citi TV so that we can have a party at the end of August, right? And then we're supposed to go around to each department. We have a number of departments in the building. Go around to each department. Okay, administration. Okay, marketing. Okay, sales. Okay, programs. Okay, technical. We go. And then only one department brings a budget. Am I supposed to dream about what the other people want to go inside the budget? I'm supposed to conjure it myself. So on many levels, we have issues. Many levels. And let's understand the importance. We did social studies in school. We are teaching our students this. Over on Saturday, we have social studies questions coming from the JHS syllabus, featuring in our literacy challenge up to 2 tests. We know that there are different functions of different people and different offices across the political and governance divide. And everybody has their mandate, their role to play. So let's understand those roles and hold people accountable where they need to be held accountable. But this particular thing, we will check, because look, Wild West, so much of our food basket is up there. And we're having a conversation about, looming food insecurity if we don't do certain things. We're having conversations about exportation and how we don't have enough to export. And I mean, sometimes I wake up in the morning and ask myself, so in Ghana, what is working? What is working?
Well, you can ask that question as well. What is working really, you know? Especially those of you who are watching us who are in positions of authority and influence. What really is working? We'll take a quick break. Breakfast Daily will continue after this.